Hello, everyone. This is an overview of our clinical trial management software solution built inside the Smartsheet platform. Today, we're going to go over kind of a high-level flow of information to managing studies, as well as managing sites within the studies and the activities that might relate to the workflows there. We're going to start off first on the kind of study intake. So this can be the sheet as your primary place of, tracking which studies you're actively participating in or running towards. This can include things like your PI, your sponsors, the study dates, regulatory authorities, etc. These are all kind of high-level tracking information that might be relevant to you. You can update contents in the sheet live inside of the records themselves, changing which study types they are, selecting from your contacts database who the PIs may be, as well as the sponsors. Now, adding in new records in here can be done in a variety of ways. You can update these from a form straight in the sheet. We've got a basic one here just for study intake. This could be done from maybe the operations team as they're looking to pursue new studies in the pipeline, or you can always upload these with tools like Data Shuttle or integrating it with maybe another linked column. Things like this can actually sync to other applications with tools like Data Shuttle or Bridge within. So this is kind of the birthplace of the solution. So the study intake allows you to kind of manage that pipeline for the studies that you have as they review. If you're approving a study, you can always just update this. We can trigger out an approval workflow if it's so desired within the automations from here. But once the study is created, we'll actually go into maybe the trials, the study kind of operations hub itself. So we're going to go here into this trial 660 for the diagnostic kind of initiative. So as this loads up, what we are going to be presented with is the studies dashboard. So a couple of things you'll notice from here are going to be pulling in the initial information from the study into this kind of one snapshot page in the overview. From there, you can view content like the DORs, the number of sites that are involved or being applied to, which one have been accepted and are getting prepared for the launch of the trial, any rejected sites, any pending issues, etc. Again, the content of this is meant to be high level so you get a snapshot of how that study is performing. There are the categorical breakdowns for the DORs, as well as kind of a snapshot view of that content in, which the sponsors, the ORCs, the partners that are responsible for that work. And then any items that are coming up on the study that might be impacting the actual progression of that. It could be financial, it could be operational, maybe you're missing material or the PIs are not available within the actual operation itself. And so you, again, following this theme of high-level summarizations where you can view this at a glance, kind of dive in to see. If you're running international studies where there's multiple sites across the globe, you can kind of see who are active, what are the primary contacts and engagement points within from here. So again, this is kind of your study launch, right? This is going to be kind of a higher level view of the sites that are related to the study. We had talked about the DORs, what are the protocols and the tasks that need to go through. You can track which versions of these need to be managed, as well as update potential categories, and then look at the other responsible kind of parties, whether it's a sponsor, the ORC, or your partner itself, and those are being applied into. So you can add these kind of order of operations and these tasks within. We've talked a little bit about the issues and decisions. So content in here really allows you to kind of track and manage potentially any risks or critical impacts to the project that you might have, classify them by type, as well as tags for categorical processing, and then logging topics or responses. These are a good way to kind of manage those risks through the study themselves. You can align them with the SMWI section and any kind of communication methods that you might have. Now, you can certainly send these emails via your own kind of email system or within the applications that you might be using, but you could also kind of collaborate in line with the study and the sites related to it within the conversations native to Smartsheet, and then everything's documented within. We'll glaze over the site intake. We'll wrap up on that in a second. We do have kind of the SOP matrices. So if you've got a standard kind of procedure that you need to be following at certain phases within the study, and which folks are responsible for those, it's kind of building out this matrix so the team is aware of who's doing what within these works. And then systems, this is more for kind of an administrative view. If you're leveraging additional tools or platforms that are specialized for your actual study of the field of work, this can be a kind of a quick reference talking about, what is the system, the purpose, any of the specific, super users or power users that are maintaining those to kind of get that access in and assist. Other supplemental things like the team list lets you know kind of contacts. This is important to manage within these studies, and certainly at a granular level down to the sites. You don't want people to necessarily have access to the content that are not active within the study in here. So it's going to get your basic contact information, title organization, as well as start and leave dates within. In a similar vein comes training. So a lot of the times, the folks that are working in the study have certain certifications or need to be enrolled in different curriculum as part of the study's requirements. So this training log is built in such a way that you can track the certification or the course, which version and affiliation with the organization that individual has, and then know if they are certified or expiring soon for the certifications they have to take. That way, you're not running into any compliance issues within the study themselves. This is a really good candidate to import maybe training and certification information, whether it's from an external source like your HR systems or from the clinical kind of other proxy solutions within. This gives you kind of a front and center console and gives you the abilities to start to automate that information now that it's centralized in Smartsheet from here. So as I promised, we're going to go back to the site intake. So similar to the way that studies run in this one, where you're having a record base of all of the studies, we have one here for all of the sites that might be managed or you're kind of reviewing for launch within. So a similar flavor where you're tracking the site name, maybe any special features around that, if there's specialties for the PIs, where those locations are at, contact information, shipping information, what procedures might be performed there, languages, other amenities and features, etc. So these are things that you can basically scope out and then send to the sponsor if you would like for them to, consider these as part of the study that you're going to be doing. So it's kind of evaluating them within this pipeline. And once you launch out a site and you're ready to start ramping it up to activate, that's when you can basically approve this site here that we have these approved, and then we go down another layer. So we're going to hop open into the cardio lab here in just a second. So we're now going from the study level into the site-specific content. And again, you'll see a similar theme with this, where we're pulling in site information kind of in the overview, so you can view the specifics here. Any site-specific activities, whether that's within, kind of a task list of events. We do have a high-level kind of timeline with these activities that need to be done. So you can group this into weeks, you can group it into quarters. You can also categorize these by, maybe different elements in here. So just a quick snapshot into what's going on for the work that might be upcoming. There's several different views that we can kind of configure this into, but wanted to give you that high level kind of experience. And again, following similar trends, where you give some major KPIs, things you want to track, how is progress being made? Is there anything upcoming or past due? Grouping those by those general categories. Things like materials would be tracking things like the lab kits, or maybe it's specific documents that need to be ready, or equipment for those sites. We can let you know, if they've been arrived on time or in good condition, if you need to send out another order for procurement, as well as content around the site personnel, whose licenses are expiring soon or past due, kind of head counts by role, so you can kind of get the general idea for the workforce within these sites. And then kind of lastly, wrapping this up is around the regulatory content. So, which documents are up to spec, which versions they're on, if there's any kind of new iterations that need to be sent out and approved, that this team should be working to the uploading standard. So we'll hop into the activities log. This one really can be configured in many different ways. Some studies and sites like to manage a pretty sequential list of activities. Of course, we can view this in a tabular view, or we can view it certainly by state or status. Again, tailoring towards the expertise and the convenience for the end users, where they can hop in, view the details for that activity, collaborate and upload the attachments, or leave conversations within the threads themselves. The materials, this is what I was referring to earlier about tracking in order requests. You can certainly leverage things like the tracking codes. If you really want to enhance the solution, you can actually sync these tracking numbers from your shipping or logistics carrier and potentially sync these real time. So as the carrier is updating it, if it's FedEx, UPS, or DHL International, could be done to update things like the received dates, the statuses, where they're at, etc. If there's training content required for some of these, again, if it's like a training packet, you can have those monitored and delivered inside of the record itself. Personnel really is just kind of a contact database or context log. Again, viewing things like the team's credentials, similar to the certifications that we saw previously, which dates are due soon or overdue that might be impacting part of the personnel that are qualified to partake in the study for that site. And then rounding this up would be the regulatory requirements. So we'll just switch this back over to table view, just so we can see kind of a series of these regulations. So you can track which regulations, which versions you're on, maybe folks that need to be approving any of the new updates within regulations, see notes from the team about, what might be kind of the next action for them to take, or if there's questions around that regulation to distribute. In here, there's also things that, sometimes the regulatory content aren't required for activation. So a place for you to help collaborate and show the team, what are critical, basically regulatory documents needed for the startup on your sites. So that pretty much wraps up our demo of our clinical trials kind of a solution. We've walked through a couple of layers. There's the study layer themselves, as you can see, all the sites that are participating with the study, and then at a more granular level, the site level views here as well. So within these two segments, you can certainly manage a series of activities, get these kind of snapshots and insights into site progress within the study, and then at the grandest level, you can roll that information up to kind of a broader portfolio view where you can view all the performance across every study that you have, site as well. Thank you very much for your time.